Some men are born into influence. Others inherit wealth, education, and a name the world already respects. But once in a generation, a man rises from the dust with none of those things. No title, no privilege, no advantage. Only hunger, only faith, only fire. In the industrial streets of England, where smoke filled the sky and poverty filled the homes, a poor plumber was about to become one of the most talked about Christian voices of the 20th century. And that is where our story begins. Smith Wigglesworth was born in Yorkshire, England, in 1859, into a struggling family that knew hardship well. This was an age of factories, long hours, and little mercy for the poor. Children worked early. Families survived however they could, and Smith was no exception. While others learned in classrooms, he worked with his hands. While others dreamed of status, he learned survival. He had little formal education and struggled to read. By the standards of society, he looked destined for obscurity. But history has a habit of hiding greatness in ordinary places. Even in those difficult years, something was stirring beneath the surface. As a boy, Smith was exposed to Christian faith through church meetings and revival gatherings. Seeds were planted in soil no one thought valuable. Then came the person who would help change everything. Mary Jane Featherstone, known as Polly. She was bold, devoted, spiritually alive, and deeply committed to God. Where Smith lacked direction, she brought focus. Where he lacked learning, she helped teach him to read the Bible. Where he saw limits, she saw possibility. Some people walk into your life quietly and leave having changed your destiny. Smith became a plumber by trade. He repaired pipes, worked hard, and lived what appeared to be an ordinary life. Nothing about his routine suggested global influence was ahead. Then came the turning point. In the early 1900s, revival movements were spreading across the world. Churches were being shaken by renewed prayer, bold faith, and spiritual hunger. In 1907, when Smith was already middle-aged, he experienced a life-changing spiritual awakening. And suddenly, the quiet worker found a voice. The man no one expected began preaching with power. Not polished power, not academic power, not the power of eloquent words, but the power of conviction. He spoke simply. He spoke directly. He spoke as a man who believed every word he said. Crowds gathered. Stories spread. Invitations came from far beyond England. He traveled to places like the United States, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and beyond. The plumber from Yorkshire had become an international figure of faith. Why did people remember him? Because he proved that your beginning does not control your ending. Because confidence can outrun credentials. Because when a man truly believes something, the world can feel it. He became known for two simple words: only believe. That phrase became more than a saying. It became the summary of his life. Even in old age, Smith kept preaching, traveling, and encouraging others. He remained active until his death in 1947 at the age of 87. But some lives do not end when the body rests. They continue in the courage they awaken. They continue in the people they inspire. They continue in the impossible hope they leave behind. Smith Wigglesworth began as a poor child with little opportunity. He became one of the most recognized revival voices of his era. And his story still reminds the world of a truth many forget. Greatness is not always born in palaces. Sometimes it rises in workshops. Sometimes it grows in hidden places. Sometimes it wears rough hands and tired clothes. And sometimes the person nobody notices becomes the one history remembers. If this story inspired you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful biographies of men and women who shaped history through faith.